What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about OnyxCoin today, XCN. It is the 8th day of May today. We have about 20 hours and 2 minutes left in the day, sitting here at 1.76 cents. Yesterday was a rough day, wasn't it? We had the pump, the miracle pump, like we always see. Anytime that OnyxCoin gets a low, you guys, it moves up dramatically. Like this, and then down. That was pathetic. That's like the most pathetic low pump that I've ever seen. Anytime, even in the downtrend. Anytime this thing finds a low, whenever it moves up miraculously. That just wasn't it. But here we are, back at it, back in your face on a brand new day. Yesterday's crazy bearish look, this I don't know what you'd call that, a gravestone doji, falling star doji, I don't know what you'd call that. Some kind of bearish look there is being overtaken right now, at least in the first 4 hours of this new day here. Will it sustain? That's a question I'm sure we're all wondering. And I do believe it will sustain. I want to go over why. If we're looking at this in volume, you can see that volume is clearly building on this move here. Yes, this candle had the largest volume we had. It was a huge spike in volume for whatever reason. But if we're looking at this on average, your volume here is larger than what we saw on average. Right? This is actually some of the most volume on a 4-hour basis that we've seen really since April. This is since the end of April, so in over a week. It's some of the most volume that we've seen on this 4-hour candle here after finding a higher low, right? From a low to a high here, that's right at your golden ratio that you bounced. You're already up this high. You guys, OnyxCoin, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, it's up 7.5% today. It's going to be up like 20% or more by the end of the day, you guys. It's going to be, we're going to have a damn good day. We're going to have a damn good end of this week, and I wouldn't be surprised. Let's see. I mean, yeah, we're probably going to be either above 2 cents or pretty damn near 2 cents by the end of this day, man. I think over the coming days we're on our way. The phenomenal thing about where we bounced here was it was not as low as we expected it to go. So as far as this being a bull flag and what our measure move might be as a course of action outside of this, I think that it is fair to assume that we still do move above this high here. That's pretty awesome. Is this a bull flag? Is it not? You know, that's a good question to ask, I suppose. There is a point to be made about it perhaps being a horizontal channel instead of a bull flag. We could be in some kind of horizontal channel, but aren't horizontal channels just bull flags anyways? You know, I don't know. If we're looking at it on a 3-day time frame, I feel like it's a little bit more obvious of this bullish consolidation. My anticipation, my expectation would be that we see some kind of move that, you know, is reflective of this here. We would move all the way up to about, what is that, like 5.5 cents, 5.4 cents. How did that happen? How is it bigger now? That doesn't make, I know why. Because I took the low. I'm not supposed to take the low. I mean, yes, you do take the low, but for the move, I think the low was here, but the move started on this day. I'm going to take this low to high, put it at this base. What's that give us now? Not 5.7 cents, but 5.2 cents. Still above 5 cents. So we're on our way. Not a financial advice, not a financial advisor. At the risk of being too early to celebrate for the movements higher, I do want to say that I think we're on our way to prices that are above 5 cents and beyond, right? Well beyond that. We're not done. This party ain't stopping until we're above 20 cents, you guys, and that'll be sometime at the end of June or early July. Maybe we'll be at above 20 cents like mid-June, but hit our actual top at the end of June. I don't know how it's all going to look, but it's going to be bullish. It's going to be very bullish. We cooled way the hell off on the daily RSI. Got overbought. Got a nice reading at the 83 there. All the way down to the 40. Bouncing off of that. Looking like we're coming up with the purpose here. Weekly RSI is immaculate. Absolutely outstanding. Higher lows throughout this whole thing. Higher highs throughout this whole thing. Right. We're in a nice... Oops. That's not what I... Okay. I don't know how that happened. Hold on. Let's take this back. Nope. That's not what I meant to do. This is what I meant to do. We're in this parallel channel. That's all I'm trying to say, guys. We're in this parallel channel, lifelong parallel channel. It's not lifelong, but just for a good bit of your life. And it looks like we're at the base of it, scraping the bottom, looking to go higher and higher, man. We're going to break through the barrier. We're going to break through 100 on the RSI. You can't do that, but still, it's going to be phenomenal. We're going to get into the overbought zone. It's going to be a damn good time. The last time that we got overbought on our weekly RSI, we saw a movement just like this. And I'm not saying that we're going to move up a 20x over the next 2 weeks. I'm not saying that we're going to do a 20x over the next 2 weeks. I'm just saying we're going to have a fantastic time over the coming weeks and over the coming month and a half. I think it's going to be very, very glorious. If we're looking at this from a high here on the 20th of January to the low here on the 7th of April, high to low right there, you can see that our primary target zone is about 8.2 cents to 15.7 cents. I very much doubt that we stop here. It wouldn't surprise me if we mess around, we consolidate, and then we continue to move higher there, but I don't think that we stop here. I don't think this next endeavor move ends in this area. I very much fully anticipate that we're going to see 26 to 32 cents by the end of this endeavor. So if I was to be the ultimate, like, most pessimistic I could be for this upcoming uptrend, I would say 15.7 cents is where we're going to go, but I very strongly believe we're going to see 26 to 32 cents, and we're going to go over that real quick. Okay, this is something that we should do at least once a week. I mean, I check on it literally. I check on it like daily, but just in case there's something that I missed, but the XCN BTC chart is rather telling as far as like where OnyxCoin will top. I feel like the cadence of how I'm speaking is off right now. I need to reset myself. Hold on. Where OnyxCoin is going to top, I think, will largely be dictated by this chart, more so than the randomness of this chart here, right? If we're looking at this on a monthly basis, on the Coinbase chart, on the all-time history chart, whatever, man. If we're looking at this from a high to a low here and aiming at the 1886 to 200, this isn't anywhere that we can reflect on in price. It's at new all-time highs. It's in price discovery. We have nothing to measure it from. But XCN to BTC, I don't think that this is going to see new all-time highs. I mean, maybe, but I doubt it, at least not by the end of this next run. I don't think that's going to happen. But I do think it'll stop somewhere around here where we've had interactions before with Bitcoin as far as resistance goes. Here, the last point of resistance that we had was right here at the base of the only consolidation phase that you had throughout this whole move down. Like the only notable consolidation phase you had, you stopped here throughout this whole damn eruptive move to the downside. Pinpoint accurate stopped at the base of it. My thought is by the end of June, by the end of this next endeavor, we're going to see a move that takes you all the way up to the base of the next noticeable consolidation area, which might be this, right? Might just be this whole range. And I think the bottom of that is where we would stop. I don't think we're going to stop at the bottom of this. This to me is like fake price action. Same thing with this wick. I don't consider that to be real. But this, you kind of have a double bottom on this range before you actually broke through and went lower. I think this could be really promising. And right there, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros, 1872. Let's input that, okay? Google calculator, hit me. 5 zeros, right? That's what we want. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1872. Is that what it was? 7. What was it? 1872. Yes, 1872. So this is the price of OnyxCoin versus Bitcoin, the perceived price. Okay, right now we're looking at the U.S. dollar price. We're at 1.75 cents, and I'm assuming that this, where we top off, will be validated or at least more understood if we analyze the XCN Bitcoin chart and see where we top off there, right? Because the last time that we had a high, if we're looking at OnyxCoin here, where it topped off, it kind of topped off in an area that it kind of makes sense. You're at the base of this range here. I mean, it kind of makes sense price-wise, but it didn't really stop anywhere that made too much sense as far as like the prior price action goes, at least in my opinion. I think it would have made more sense to go up here or a little bit higher, right? Something like that, but we didn't do that. That's fine. But so we kind of just stopped in an area that kind of makes sense, but it's not really the most logical area to make sense. But for the Bitcoin pair, we stopped at an exact area, the exact area that would make sense to find resistance, which was prior support. I'm assuming we're going to do that again. On the Bitcoin chart here, we don't have the US dollar price, we have the Bitcoin price. So this is XCN priced in Bitcoin, projected as to where it's going to go versus Bitcoin. I think you're going to grow a lot versus Bitcoin over the coming weeks and months. What does that translate into dollars? I'm glad you asked. Well, Bitcoin, on this path, we're going to be at $1 million in 2 weeks. No, probably not. But we're going to be, I very much do believe that we're going to see prices that are around 160,000 to 180,000, if not more, by the end of June, if not very, very early July. That's the expectation. I would go into the whole reasons. I would explain that all in like a 10 or 20 minute video if I could, but I don't want to do that here. I've made so many videos with that, so I'll just give you a couple of short examples as to why, okay? You take this move that started here. I don't think that it started here. You kind of moved sideways for a while, and then you began your move right there, right? So you began it right there. Let's take that. The last move that we had was here. Low to high, you saw 106% growth. We take the last move before that from a low to high here, that was a 91% growth. You take the last move before that, low to high here, not the actual high, but the high of the move, 80%, right? We're not taking the actual low, we're taking the low of the move, so 80%. Are you you noticing a trend? Can you notice it with your eyes? Do I need to measure these ones? Can you tell that as we're going forward, as we go backwards, the moves are getting smaller. As we go forward, the moves are getting bigger. That's not a coincidence. That happens every single bull cycle, okay? So my assumption, fairly deduced assumption, just simply put, and there's so many more reasons than what I'm doing here to validate and believe that we're going to see $180,000, $170,000 price for Bitcoin by the end of June, if not early July. There's so many more reasons than just this metric, but this is an easy way to understand things, okay? If we're going to see a bigger move, we take this here and we put it at the low, because I don't think I have a problem addressing that from this low here. That's when this next move, we're in the middle of it right now. The next move up, like this move, we're in it. We're in it right now. What we don't know is where's it going to stop. But what we do know is where it won't stop. It won't stop here or lower, because each move is only getting bigger as the cycle progresses, as it normally does whenever it comes to bull cycles, right? You only get more powerful moves, not weaker moves. You start getting weaker moves, that's when things taper off and you die and you get a bear market, you know what I mean? The biggest move, I mean, look at this, right? End of cycle finale. Did that happen in the beginning? No, you had a nice big move here, but this was bigger, you know what I mean? The bigger moves happen at the end of the cycle. End of the cycle, here we are. And this is not going to be the end of the cycle. I don't think this is going to be the last move, but all I'm trying to say by that is that right there is at 153K. And that would be if we moved at the same pace as the last one. But what we've just deduced is that, and beyond this, we can go through further things that would deduce that we go higher than this. But the assumption would be at least that we don't stop below this line, but we stop above it. So for Bitcoin, comparing OnyxCoin to Bitcoin, what's the price of Bitcoin going to be? We don't know, but we would at least assume it's above here. Let's say 160. Let's just say 160K, okay? XCN goes to this price versus Bitcoin, right? On the XCN to BTC chart, it goes up here. Where's the USD price going to be for XCN? Well, we put this in. We put in the perceived Bitcoin price, which would at least be about 160K in this. 160, 1, 2, 3. That's $160,000. This gives us the potential, possible, perceived price for OnyxCoin to achieve by the end of its next endeavor, aka by the time that it hits this price versus Bitcoin. Bitcoin chart, USD chart. We press enter and we get 30 cents. 30 cents, my friends. It coincidentally happens to be right here in this 1886 to 200 area, right there, right in that zone, and that's where I think we're going to go. Here we are at about 1.75 cents now. It all starts here. It all starts here. And we're going to go higher. Man, if you look at this too, where we bounced actually on the fibs, it actually makes a lot of sense because we are right between the 0.5 and the 382 of this relative fib. I never even took that into consideration, right? Bouncing, rejecting the golden ratio here, coming down and finding support in this area. It's actually very common when working your way higher. So I don't think that we're going to just make our way to new relative highs here in one fell swoop. I don't think that we're going to make our way all the way up to these prices at 26 to 32 cents in one fell swoop. Over the weeks, it might seem like it was so easy, but there's going to be turbulence, right? You look at this, it must have been so easy to hold through these 2 weeks, but if you really look at it and you get the finer details, we go to the 4-hour time frame here, you go all the way back. You can see that this is that 2 weeks right here. Doesn't look so easy now, does it? There was moments of stagnation. There was moments of uncertainty. There were moments where from a high to a low, you dropped 43%. And then another moment where you moved up after that. You pumped dramatically, and then you still dropped another 42% after that, right? There was a moment here on your path to riches and glory that you dropped 42%. There were plenty of moments of uncertainty throughout this whole. There were bearish divergence moments. There were times where you're getting really overbought in the RSI. Times where it would just make sense that you were going lower and you just didn't. You kept going higher, right? It might seem easy. Whenever we zoom out, it might seem, and let me try and get all this back here if I can bring it. Yeah, it might seem like we're just moving straight up to this area, but on the day-to-day, on the hour-to-hour, there is going to be volatility. It's not just going to be a straight shot. I very much believe where we are now, 1.75 cents, we're on our way to prices that are not just above 2 cents, but above 4.9 cents, above 5 cents, probably over the coming weeks, probably. And then inevitably up to 2.6 cents, 26 to 32 cents over the coming month and a half, 2 months at the most. That's all I got for you guys. Hit the like button, subscribe. I'm excited to see what comes next. I really do think that this is it. It would just be devastating if Bitcoin turned around here, if the rest of the crypto markets turned around here, but I don't think they will. And even if they do, we'll be fine. It just puts off the bullishness to another week, whatever. But I don't think we're going to turn around here, man. The fact that we're down right now, chalk it up like on this 4-hour candle because we just moved up 7% on the last one. Chalk it up to standard volatility. You moved up, now you're back testing. Are we for real? Yeah, we're for real. We're finding support at prior resistance here, prior support there. We're going to move up. So not financial advice, not a financial advisor. By the time you watch this video, this price is already long gone, but it's probably a good time to buy. I think it's a great time to get in. If we reject here, oh, I'll have some explaining to do in the morning, and explain I will. But that's all I got for now. So hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye.